and welcome to this podcast on adaptive teaching strategies in mainstream classrooms. I'm Emily Giubertoni and I'm the director of the skit at Bishop Challoner Training School Alliance. In this podcast, we're going to look at a number of things. We're going to look at one key principle that all teachers of students with SEND should know, 5 strategies to support SEND students in your mainstream classroom, and then 10 principles of effective teaching that all teachers should know and that they can use to support learners of all different needs in their classroom. Let's start with that first principle. The first document that all teachers of students with SEND need to know is the SEND Code of Practice, and particularly that's part 6. And without going to read that whole document, although all teachers should be reading the SEND Code of Practice, let's pick out the key part of that document. What does it tell us teachers need to do? Teachers should be focused on high quality teaching with ambitious targets for every single student in their classrooms. And part of high quality teaching is targeting the areas of weakness or potential barriers for learning that students might have in the classroom, and teaching in a way which is designed to help students overcome those barriers. So our first key principle from the SEND Code of Practice is high quality teaching first for every student in the classroom, adapted to help all of those students make progress. That's our core responsibility as mainstream teachers of SEND. Where can we go for a bit of help on what to do? Well, let's look at those 5 strategies to support those SEND students in the classroom. And these 5 strategies come from a document by the Education Endowment Foundation, the EEF. They call them the 5-a-day strategies. And these strategies are straightforward to think about, but really practical for helping those students and to adapt your teaching in a really straightforward and meaningful way in the classroom. So the first one is scaffolding. What can you do? Are there writing frames you can provide? Sentence starters, for example. That's a really good example of scaffolding to help students learn. Cognitive and metacognitive strategies. Those are some big words that basically mean helping your students plan, monitor and evaluate their own learning. Are they constantly being shown how to plan a task, how to know they're on track, and how to know if they've done a good job at the end? Flexible groupings. How can you group your students in your lessons to help certain students make more progress, to help all of your students make the most progress? Think about the groupings you're using. Technology. This is a huge field. There's so many things out there with technology. It might be as simple as, for some students, word processing instead of handwriting can help them. It might be recording a model and making it available online that students can watch it back a number of times. Those are just a couple of examples of how you could use technology to adapt your teaching to help students with particular needs in your classroom. And the 5th of the 5-a-day is explicit instruction. Being absolutely clear through your modelling and your practice opportunities and your recap in your teaching. It's not asking students to discover things for themselves. That methodology is really unhelpful for students in lots of different ways, but explicit instruction, really powerful. Those are the 5-a-day. And explicit instruction leads us very nicely into the 10 strategies that we can look at. And that's a really great piece of research by Rosenshine. Rosenshine did a meta-study where he looked at cognitive science, cognitive supports for complex tasks, and the practice of master teachers. And he brought together those 3 fields and he looked at where do they intersect and what things are coming out again and again, backed up in lots of different research studies that show that there is solid evidence behind them. And Rosenshine's called it the principles of instruction, and there's 10 things that he suggests that teachers can do, and they can be grouped together nice and easily. But getting students doing lots of reviews, weekly, daily, monthly reviews of practice, introducing new things in very small steps and checking the student understanding constantly, asking lots of questions after every step. Are they following along with you? Providing scaffolds for difficult tasks, a link back to the 5-a-day from the EEF there, scaffolding coming up again and again. Guiding student practice, so students practicing but with some support in place. Letting students do independent practice, all of that supported by providing models, and then making sure that those students are constantly having this kind of checking for understanding. Are they getting it right? They're doing the independent practice. Is it going well? Are they getting a high success rate there? And these 10 things together are shown to be really effective in student learning. And if you structure your teaching around them, you can be very confident that you're supporting students, particularly students with SEND, with lots of different varied SEND needs, will be supported by that methodology of teaching. So to sum up, one key principle is high quality teaching for all students, taken from the SEND Code of Practice. The 5 a day: scaffolding, cognitive and metacognitive strategies, flexible groupings, technology and explicit instruction. And then for explicit instruction, thinking about Rosenshine's principles of direct instruction, 10 principles, easy to find online if you want to read more about those. And teaching with those in mind will effectively adapt your teaching to support students in your classroom. Thank you for listening.